That's weird. I didn't even realize that it was doing that. That's crazy. Oh, oh, wrong link. Sorry, guys. Sent the wrong link to the damn video. Da ba dee da ba da da ba dee da ba da da ba dee. See if anybody hops in here or not. I have too many tabs open at one time, man. It's crazy. Shad, what's up, man? What's going on? Man, I can't stand Google. That's what's going on. I'll tell you that much. Do whatever to hold a brother back. No. Anyways, hope everybody had a good day. Shad, how about you? How'd your day turn out? Doing a few different things right now. I don't know how many people are really even gonna jump in here with us. With it being Friday and all, people probably tired of talking about stocks and stuff like that. I'm actually working on some trade reviews I did a little bit early. I'll probably do a little bit more after this live stream. Just chilling, buddy. Made a couple of $100 today. Yeah, I doubled my entire account off of that those option trades I made. I'm not sure if you were watching this morning or not. But the power of options, man, they're if you're right, you're right. Yeah, I know. If I didn't YOLO all of my account into, option trades today, then I probably would have looked at buying some myself. It was looking pretty strong pre-market when we were looking at it together. iMac recordings. You were on this morning? Yeah. So I'm basically going to review that a little bit. And then, also identify where we're at in the markets overall and what we can expect going into Monday and stuff. I'm trying to give everybody some time to hop in there if they're going to join us. I don't expect everybody to, due to the fact that, it is Friday now. A lot of people, like I said, are probably tired. I think we got to stay above that 383.50 level, man. Ultimately, that's the goal here, and what I've been focused on. And then hopefully we can break out of that trend, that downward midterm trend we've been watching this whole time. Above the 386 is where we need to be ultimately. 385 would have been a strong signal if we would have made it there. And whether or not, it was a full bull market. A lot of people are still speculating that we're still in a bull market, that this was just correlation and needed to occur, which I agree. It's healthy to have these pullbacks so things can kind of settle down when they're on a massive run like they've been here lately. So, pretty comfortable where it's at, though, ultimately. Definitely can change in a matter of days, though. In a matter of minutes, as you saw yesterday when Jay Powell hopped on here and said what he had to say about inflation and stuff like that. You saw the market just tank. So we got the Senate still voting on the stimulus package number 3, and seeing what comes out of that ultimately is what we need to pay attention to over the weekend. I think that's going to go into voting throughout the night, actually. So we won't have any news until probably later this evening or tonight. But that might push up the markets unless that sentiment or that expectation has already been priced into the stock market already. So that is a concern. The saying they say, buy the expectation and sell the news. So that's definitely could occur. I'm not gonna say just because they pushed the stimulus package that we're gonna just be up, but it's definitely something to watch for. And then, of course, you got to pay attention to your 10-year treasury yields and how they're performing because of the fact that they're pushing up. People are worried that rates are going to start picking back up, causing inflation. The fact that unemployment is, from what I read today, unemployment is technically still 9%, although that they're reporting 6%. What's up, Justin? How you doing, man? Glad you can join us. I wasn't expecting too many people to jump in here with us, but glad you were able to come. So that's what I was alluding to when I was talking about unemployment, is you have to be careful how you read that number because it can be very misleading. And the true numbers of people that are unemployed, you got to take into account the fact that a lot of businesses went out of business. So the number of jobs that are actually on the sales force, I think that's kind of what it's based off of, is counting up how many businesses are in play and how many jobs they had initially compared to now. And a lot of businesses, like I said, are out of business. So a lot of those jobs don't even exist. There's still about 10 million people unemployed. So that's what kind of occurred yesterday, was the fact that the 10-year treasury yield was picking up a little bit on us. Sitting about 1.5%. At its lowest, it was about 0.5%, I think, 5.2%. I was reading up on it this morning before I hopped on because I was going to kind of look at it pretty strongly, but we got to looking straight at the markets and seeing where they're sitting. And like I said, though, SPY sitting at 383.88. After hours, we need to stay above that 383.50. I sold my calls right at that 384 level once I start seeing some weakness in the momentum. So I was able to gauge the trade, and I'm going to actually walk you through those option trades because I know that a lot of y'all are very interested in how to utilize options. Some of you may or may not know I was able to double my entire account. I started with like $100 in a personal account that I set up separate from my business for Millennial Investments. Started with like $100 2 weeks ago, and ultimately the market started dumping on me the moment I started trying this small account challenge, basically, of seeing what I can do with $100. Going into about midweek, about Tuesday, Wednesday, I was sitting at about $382. I was kind of keeping you guys up to date in the chat on that, and I was sitting at about 382. Came into the day about that level. Missed out on a lot of opportunities. Some of the options I made throughout this week actually jumped 100%. Two out of the past 3 days were up 100%. I bought 3 more options today, and all 3 of them were above 100%. So it's basically just knowing our levels that we're trading on here and being able to swing it and knowing how to swing it properly in order to capture some of those gains. I'm going to see if some more people are going to jump in here first before we actually get deep into it. But we'll track, my thought process through the entire process of, there's times I was thinking I was going to pull out because, I was seeing some retracement in the market and weakness and momentum and stuff of that nature. So fortunately, I held strong till about 2:30, 2:45, which I typically don't do. If it's printing and it's making money, I typically I'm day trading it. I'm getting in and out as quick as I can, unless I see indicators that signal that we're going to continue moving higher, and that's basically what I saw throughout the day. So that's ultimately why I stuck with the trades. Eventually, what I did was I sold 2 of the calls and let one of the other ones continue moving, because essentially that call itself was free. Based Actually, I could have kept two of the options open, and those would have been considered free because I made about $400 off those trades today. It doesn't look like too many people are gonna hop back in here, so I'm not gonna hold you all up too much longer while we wait. But I will go in through our timestamps on when we bought these options. I actually had you guys watch me this morning. The first one I bought was about 8:44. It was the March 12th, 2020, 386 calls. I bought that for 167. I sold it for, what was that, the 86 calls? I sold it for 287. And then I bought at about 9 o'clock. Let me pull some of these lines out so we can just look at the trade. But I bought March 12th, 387 calls. For 104, we saw the market kind of pull back on me. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy that dip in an option. And we can open that up just a little bit. So right around this time frame is when 8:45 is when I bought my first option. And you saw the markets kind of pull back on me, continue pulling back. Let me pull my indicators in here, at least not my trend lines, just my indicators, so that we can see the swings in the trades. And that'll kind of help you see how I gauge the entire trade. The wife's hungry, so I'm not going to be able to be on here too long, apparently. I got to go feed the fam. But yeah, we came in the market open. I bought right around here. I saw this lip happening, is what I like to call it. This pickup right here. I bought it a few minutes earlier, and it started picking up. I was seeing some gains real quick, and then it dropped out. Boom. We're down. We're down here now, about 376. I'm still comfortable with it. I see this large stick candle coming in. I was pretty confident in holding the trades, and I'm gonna get to my point about that in a minute. But I bought my second set of options at 8:55. I bought it, like I said, for 104, and I ended up selling it ultimately for 313. So I paid $104 for it, and I sold it for $313. We saw this swing. I was keeping you guys up to date. I think I stayed on the line with you all till about 9:30. We were seeing some pullback. I was calling out, levels that I was looking for. If we broke below right around this area, I was going to get out of the trade and stuff, and we did. And I was like, head in my hands, basically. Saw a reversal, saw a resistance right here. Kept falling, and I'm like, man, this is just, I look like, crap, basically. I'm sitting in front of these people telling these people, it's gonna swing, blah, 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 and it's just steady coming down on me. And then right at 9:41, I saw this, an additional, I saw that we could potentially break, I think, on the 1 minute. Something was telling me to go ahead and snatch another option call. Is when I bought my third one. Was at 9:41. I bought the March 19th 390 calls here. Once again, we bounced up, and I saw that resistance, and it just kept pulling down. It actually went all the way down to 372. And I was down about $150 to $175 in all three of these options. And I'm like, man, I just blew this whole small account challenge that I'm doing for myself. But then we started seeing some reversals. We brought in that midterm support level, and I'll pull back on the time frame. That midterm support level is what we've been tracking on the overall performance of the market throughout the past few weeks. We found that support right there, and I was like, all right, it dipped a little bit below it, but I saw it like reverse, and I'm like, okay, we should be good. And as soon as it got back to it to retest it, it bounced through heavy. And throughout the whole day, I was just on the needle. I saw this big, large candle right here, and I'm like, man, I'm getting out of here. I was seeing if it was going to ride these EMAs or not, but it bounced right back off of it and kept running. I'm like, all right, cool. And I think at that point I was like up maybe $100, $150, maybe $200, because I was watching how it reacted to this 380.08 level. And then at that point, I think I was around 250 plus, and I was, as long as it stayed above that 380.08 level, because we identified that earlier on in the weeks as a support level, as long as it stayed there, I was going to let my options run. And I started getting concerned there because we were seeing some large selling candles. It was breaking into the EMA. But it hit that support. It kept hitting that support and bounced off of it ultimately. And then at the end of the trade, we were looking at the 383.50. Which is a key level I've been talking about for some time that we need to get above and stay above in order to confirm that the markets are reversing. It hit that level. I think I was topping out at like 420. And then once it ultimately broke out here, right in there is when I sold it. I went ahead and captured those gains and got out. So it was about 240, like I said. Started with 382 in the account, made 401, currently sitting at 779. So within a market pullback over the course of the past 2 weeks, I threw $100 at the market, and I'm now sitting at 779. I've been trading options, I've been trading stocks in between, and I've been, calling those out to you. But this is why it's important. The reason I was able to do that ultimately is due to the fact that I use my stop losses. You know what I'm saying? What's up, J-Dub? How you doing, man? I use my stop losses religiously. I'd rather lose $5 to $10 per 100 than $90 and then be waiting to make at least $40 back to, take half of my losses or whatever, but I use my stop losses religiously. I stick to my 108, my minimum that I have to make in order for me to sit here with you every day and look at these trades with you. I have to make a minimum of $108. All right. So I stick to that. As long as I make $108, I'll get out of the market. I'm not sitting here trying to get rich off of it. I'm just trying to hit my minimum, so that way I can sit with you guys. You know what I'm saying? But I want to use that as basically as a platform to have a structure in what your targets are every day. What are you trying to achieve with investing in the markets? Are you trying to get rich? Because that's going to be hard. Are you trying to build an investment? Then you need to look at growth stocks, long terms. Are you trying to pay off a bill? Are you trying to fix your car? Are you trying to go on a vacation? You need to know what your goals are, what it's going to cost you to achieve those goals ultimately. And then from there, you can break that down on a daily basis. There's only 20 trading days out of the month, unless there's holidays within that month, which it's not uncommon for at least one holiday to be in the markets where they're closed, every other month or so. There's 20 days. You take your ultimate goal and you divide it by 20 days, and that's what you need to make. You understand what I'm saying? So as long as you hit those goals, don't be greedy. It can continue running, but if you don't have momentum indicators in front of you to identify your exits and stuff like that, that's why I wanted to use this as an example, not to rant that I jumped my account by 100%. No, it's the fact that there was moments in these times where I was getting a little shaky. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, man, I'm going to lose a little bit of profit I made. I'm tiptoeing along that minimum daily requirement. I can get out right now and call it a day, go hang out with my kids, do some YouTube videos, work on the website, whatever I choose, But I stuck here all day. I ended up pushing back some of my other business obligations just because I had the amount of money riding on this one thing, and I wanted to prove the process to you guys. But I kept jumping in and out of the office watching this. Every time it'd break out, I'll walk off and go do something else and come back, and it'd be coming back down on me. And I'm like, oh man, getting a little sweaty hands and stuff like that. But ultimately, I knew that I hit my goal. And after this level, I was fine. I let it run because it was showing the momentum of doing so. And this is on the lower time frames. Of course, I watched this throughout. Not a snapshot. I'm sorry. If I bring in some of my other momentum indicators, you can really see where I was getting nervous. And that's mainly around, I'm looking 95% long term, but would like to try day trading a couple of times a month, kind of like what I did with, and basically just know what your targets are going into it. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if Reg is here, but we were talking about it yesterday, shortly after our live stream. We were just having a side-by-side conversation about, being too greedy about it. You're hitting what you need to make, and then you're like, oh no, I can make more, and then you let it all go, and by the time you know it, you've lost half of what you got, or you lost everything that you gained, and now you're taking losses. But there was a lot of times in this where this momentum started picking up, right there, freaking me out. I'm like, man, we're losing steam. Again, right here at 1 o'clock. 112. That's when I was really about to get out. I think I was in the group like, look, if this goes below 380, I'm out of the trades. I'm closing them out. I'm moving on. But I watched it religiously. And this comes from what we first started working on as a team, as a group, is identifying our key levels. And all these key levels are levels that we identified from a week or two back, and you see how they're playing into it now, and you can kind of base your current day trades off of these. And that's why I find it important. The first thing you do is look at your technical analysis and determine, where are my key levels of support. Will the previous level of resistance become my new support? Will a level of support that we broke through before, will it become resistance again, or will it be support if we get above it and it comes back down on me? Which is exactly what it did. It even broke through those levels, and I'm like, all right, I'm done. And then one thing that my wife gets on me about is sometimes considering, on the other hand, you have to have some type of patience to let things run out. So you have to weigh that. You got to stay in the middle. But like I said, we had so many indicators of momentum loss going through this throughout the day. It was nerve-wracking watching it, to be honest. I was glad to get out of the trade just to prove my point. And that's really ultimately why I did this. And what I'm going to do with the small account challenge is basically use that initial $100, throw it at the market, and just see how we can take off with it. Some of the trades that I'll be sharing with you guys more so throughout our coffee and stock sessions, throughout our live sessions that I may have throughout the day after our coffee and stock period between the 8:30, 9:30 time frames, as I go through, all right, these are the trades I'm going to make with this small account. And then I'll diversify that with our Millennial account, my MI account. And that's all business done through the platform and stuff, which are separate opportunities. But I'm ultimately trading them. I have a TV up here. I have 4 screens in front of me with the laptop to my left. So I'm trading and sharing this information with you on 2 different accounts at the same time. So that's what I want to do with this small account, because after talking to some of you guys, I kind of understand what your missions are. And I want to show you different types of strategies on how to achieve those goals ultimately. Just like Shad said, he wants to make 95% long term. But he wants to do a few day trades a couple times a month. Well, in day trading, you have to momentum trade. And that's how I trade. I built my swing trades off of my day trading that I used to conduct. I used to pull $2,000-$3,000 easy a day back when we had a $1.4 million account. I was well over my PDT. I could throw $10,000 at something and make $1,000, $2,000, get in, get out. But I when we had that account set up like that, the reason we don't now, just to explain, people always ask me, how did you have a $1.4 million account and now you don't? That was a business account that we used in order to hold our business up throughout the pandemic. We threw everything we had at it in order to keep our employees employed, and we actually were able to do that up until August, I think, is when we finally, ran out. We burned through it as a business. So I didn't lose it to the market. I only lost about 5 to 10% of it overall because we were just throwing money at stuff and making some gains like crazy. Like I said this morning, we made $30K off of a waiter in 2-3 hours one day. And that was day trading, but it was momentum trading and building a system that helps you identify that momentum, where things correlate to identify entries and exits perfectly. You'll never be perfect. Stocks are going to do what they want to do. A lot of people have this notion that stocks only go up, and then you have things like this week happen, and they're like, what's going on? Because stocks aren't going up. But anyways, okay. Sorry, I got a text. But, that consists of a lot of momentum trading. I can get with you on the side, or whoever is interested in learning. I'm not sure if you have a trading view account, but I use it because it gives me a visual identification of entries and exits. That's why I pay for it every month. I don't mind because I make the money that I make off of using it very well. And I'll show you some of the I have some custom scripts in there that'll set up this EMA scanner that we use mainly and focus on, which is what you see right here, these greens and reds. That's what I'm looking at. This is good for option trading because it's momentum trading ultimately. So you can see what phase the stock is in. And if you look at it this way, the stock market is really want to see what I can do with it trading actively. Okay. Ultimately, if you look at the stock market as a cross-country sprint, running in the bathroom, sorry, wife's hit me up. 1 second. All right, but if you look at the stock market, I'm not going to be on here too much longer unless there's some trades you guys want to look at. I do want to go down the coffee and stocks list to see what stocks rebounded now that the market's picking back up, so you can use that going into next week. So we'll spend about 20-30 minutes on that, or however long it takes or whatever. But anyways, if you look at the stock market as a cross-country sprint, right, at some point you're going to have this strong run, this strong sprint, and then there's going to be times where you have to take that large gasp of air. And I ultimately look at this week like that. I'll look at last week like that, especially around that Friday time frame of or Thursday time frame where the markets actually picked back up and then they continue to fall back into this week. So it was a longer break, basically, a longer gasp of air. But as you've seen, the markets were resilient, hitting those trend lines we identified, broke below them a little bit, but found the strength to pop right back through them and continue moving higher. Now we're at the levels we wanted to see. We're at 383.88 going into after hours now, sitting well above that 383.50, which is where we need to be to confirm that this is going to stay at these levels. So, yeah, I know. I'm going to run through this list real quick so we can hurry up and get done with it then. With that being said, I made option money off eyes and daily options on T and GE. Were you the one that brought up eyes, Justin? I wanted to say somebody had brought it up in one of our coffee and stock sessions. I don't know if that was this morning or not, but I know that it's up like 300%. I just did a review video on it actually to kind of help people with finding an entry in there so they didn't jump in there too late or they're holding bags basically. That's what I'm trying to prevent. But anyways, while I'm waiting on that response, I'll go through some of these stocks. Shad actually recommended GWACW in our coffee and stock sessions. It jumped 100% today. He didn't hop in it. I didn't hop in it, of course, because I YOLO'd my account on these option trades, this small account, and I didn't really do much in our Millennial investment account. I'm going to wait until Monday before I jump on that. But it jumped 100%, sitting at 225 right now. It's a resistance level, so watch out right there. Make sure we pop above it Monday or even in after hours and find support and stay above that. Hopefully it can gap up above it going into Monday, and we can find some strength continuing to the upside if you do want to get in it. MKD was on our list. It actually is one of the top 10, I think, either micro or small caps. It hit my top 10 list there, jumped to 222 today. Or not today, excuse me, I'm looking at the daily. Give me a second. Jumped to 130 at its peak, so it was up like 30%. I mean, it's a $1 stock, bounced right out the $1 and jumped up for us. RSSV, something we've been watching, looks like it's trying to come back to that 0.1250. Definitely something to pay attention to if it is able to do that. But watch out for the 978 levels. I'll call it that. I know it's a penny stock. OEG rebounded. What's up, Antoine? How you doing, man? I see a few people jumped in here with us. Thank you all for joining us. I'm not going to be here too much longer. You can always go backwards in the video to catch up on what we talked about. I think, Antoine, you were here this morning, and I was kind of showing everybody the results of the option trading today and how profitable it can actually be. OEG bounced back up to 532. Good. It needed to get back above 489. That's a strong signal. I'm going to see if it kind of gaps down going into Monday, and if it does and bounces off that 489, then I'm potentially buying some options and some equity in the stock with some of the free money I have now. I like OEG. BGI is doing well today. It's headed back to that 366 level that we identified before, but running into some short resistance between the 340 to 348 levels. So definitely something to watch there as well. But I think it's gonna, hit that 366 based off the momentum and the fact that it's trading above that long-term trend we identified earlier on when we put this on the list. ONTX, I actually killed the alert on this. It's up 10%. It still wouldn't justify the amount that was lost in the alert that I had on it in the position we had. You scalped all day. Smart. Take some of the profits you can and secure some of the losses. Unless you're all green. Did you do SNDL yet? Are you on here, Steve? I can. He wants me to do SNDL. ONTX, though, ultimately has to get back above 107, so we still have some real estate to cover with it before I find any strong signals that it's going to go back to that 141, which could be about a 34% on swing on the trade. even if you were to buy it here, you're only looking at an additional 4%. So that's why that's why I wait for those types of confirmations to make sure that we find that support above it. NXPI, running into that 183. This is a semiconductor company, microchip. All right, cool. We can look at SNDL. I'm not sure how well it did today. I'm looking at all the stocks that picked up mainly, but we can definitely look at it. It's actually down to 114 right now, so only down 2%. NXPI, I said we needed to keep support above the 188, but of course, the market's pulling back. It's lower now. I guess I need to pull up my chat on Facebook as well. But we can definitely look, Steve, here in a second. NXPI needed to stay above the 183. There's some other trades I'm going to show you guys too that I just did some reviews, or you could just go watch the videos. It's up to you. But it's currently at 188, still riding along that long-term support level that we found in that channel that it was trading in. It's dipped below it before, and I said that it could. Just make sure that we rebounded back above it, and it has. So definitely something to watch. SFTW, let's see where it's at. Needs to get above our 1168. Just going over these trades with you guys and seeing where they're currently at with the markets, rebounding. I think if the markets do rebound, then we can see these actually retrace all the way back to the levels that we were targeting at the beginning. It's why I'm pointing these out. So great opportunities on some of these swings that we're looking at. And what you really want to see is when we're looking at these in coffee and stocks is that the price point is actually above the EMAs, and the crossover will follow from there for sure. That's confirmation that we're moving higher, unless it reverses, of course. GAXY needs to get back above 35 cents. Only has 5 cents to go. That's not hard to gain. It's a penny stock, so those are highly volatile. It's actually what I would call a almost a sub penny stock because it's only 3 cents. But NXTD has been something I think a lot of us have liked. It found strong support off that 112 and hasn't been below it, even with the markets pulling back a little bit this morning. That's when it finally touched and bounced off of it. Ultimately, looking for this to get above that 153. If it can get above 153, it's a swing to 211. If you were to get into a position right now, you could still win about 20% off the trade to that 153 level. And if it pops up above it, then you can let it ride to the 211s. And as long as it keeps support, just like I said with the SPY, how it found support above the 383.50 and I let it go. Or it found support above the 380.08. That was my ultimate sell level because it was my minimum for the day. And once it hit that level, I definitely let it go. And once it hit 383.50 and kind of went sideways, I got out to secure my trades because I could have popped right back down to the 380 real quick. AVGR, it's actually back above that support level, so I think we could have a run on this going into next week as long as the markets stay where they're at and continue moving higher. GME, I'm not too fond of talking about it, but it's popping up. We need to get above 159 ultimately if this is really going to continue to grow naturally outside of the meme stock push and movement. Everybody's happy that it's reviving itself, I guess you could say, and actually making some headway. I'm not mad at it. Make your money. Rig was something that was recommended to us this morning. I said to watch for that 419, and as you can see, we're finding support above it, so this could continue moving higher. I want to see where that 419 actually correlates with the rest of the price action, which you see was actually previous resistance before, and that's why it was that important. We stayed above it, and we continue to stay above it. A lot of things going on with oil, with the OPEC decision to cut supply in order to compensate for lower demand and stuff like that. So SSY is one you want to look at. Is that what you're saying? Now, let me go back just a little bit more because our next level to pay attention to for rig would be right there around the 542. MCHP, another semiconductor microchip company, going to see the same results that we saw with what was that, NXPI. The difference here is the fact that it actually, for the most part, stayed above its support level until after hours hit, and now it's at 149.19, only down about what is that, a penny. So I mean, it's doing pretty well. I would have more confidence in this one than the other due to the fact that it held its support even in these market pullbacks. HRTG was something I recommended a little while ago. I'm not saying that it's not performing or that it's performing, some crazy way because everything pulled back this week, but held strong above the 909. Feel like this was a great buy zone between that 909 and that 1105 area to ride this out to at least the 13.56 to $16 price ranges. APG is one of those growth stocks that just keep going up no matter what's going on, apparently. I really want to dig into this some more and see what is, the cause for it. All right, we'll look at SSY next. And then let's look at SNDL because Nick and Steve wanted to look at it first, and we'll then look at SSY. But APG, I really want to understand what's pushing them. What's the rocket under that to keep it going up even in market pullbacks? That's amazing to find stocks like that. SNDL, man, I'll tell you what I did. I closed my calls on that. I'm waiting for some better results out of it. As everybody knows, it broke below $1. That was very concerning because I think if you stay under $1 for 7 days, then you have issues of staying listed on the stock exchange that you're on. But ultimately, came back above at least to the 114s. Man, like, understand the market's pulled back, but this was too strong, man. Like, the downfall of this has just been a constant downtrend, and I've had hope in it to go back to the 313s. That's still my price target on it eventually, but looks like we're gonna see some magic have to happen. One thing I do want to identify though, I'm not gonna say necessarily that there's a potential breakout looming on it. It is trading above the lower EMA from what I saw on the 1 hour a minute ago, I believe. Let me confirm that just a second. I messed up my charts. Trying to do too much. All right, so let's zoom in a little bit, and that'll kind of pick this up. It is picking up above the EMAs. Now, what it would need is to continue that trend that it's going in and break above those EMAs. We need the price gap up above 125 going into Monday. If that does that, then I expect the EMA crossover to follow, and we'll get back up to the 155s. I know some of you are holding this pretty high, though, so saying an entry at this level and then riding it to the 155s will be hard to say. But if you did that, if you're new to the trade or interested in getting into it and never had before and it's been going down and so you've been waiting, now's a good opportunity to do so because you're looking at a 40% swing on the trade, 35 to 40% if it goes back to the 155 levels. But of course, we had to break through the 136, which was previous levels of support that I told you guys we needed to stay above in order for this trade to continue, strong and have a strong, basically a strong foundation to move off of. Was ultimately my thesis on it. The fact that it broke below that 136 is when I decided to get out of the trade. For other opportunities. So, but if it sticks to the current rebound that it had, ultimately after the SPY started picking up as strong as it did, let's see how well it correlated with the SPY before I make my next statement. So the price of the SPY, no, I need this like this. Why are you doing that? Why is it not moving? Move. All right, so that's where they're correlating right now. If the SPY gets back to the 390s, then I see this potentially riding the movement of the markets back up to the 150s. If the SPY comes back down, we're going to see downward pressure and people getting out of stocks that they're holding long term because the entire market's pulling back. Most of the people that are holding this long term are just going after it for that bounce back to the $2-3 range. But once the markets start pulling back, you start seeing investors jump out of these pretty quick. So just be careful with them. A lot of dollar stocks get hit like this. I would like to see the SPY back to 390 and see how it reacts to confirm what my thesis is on the movement back to the upside. And back above that 136 ultimately is the goal. So we would need the SPY to stay above at least 386 to feel comfortable. For those of you that I know y'all are holding this heavy too and looking for some return on it, but I'm just being honest in what the chart's telling us. But next one was SSY real quick. SSY, let me see on the 1 hour. All right, 1 hour, we're already there. 4 hour. Nice setup. I'm wondering if it got pulled back the first half of the day because of the market pullback, but it rebounded very well. back to those 165 levels. As you see, they correlate very well with previous levels of resistance, and that's what ultimately where we start with any trade you're getting into, is identifying later or previous levels of resistance first, to determine where the stock is in the trade. As you see, it bounced right here back to those levels, around the 165, and that's when it bounced back up. This was going through the end of February, where the market started showing some signals of returning. It looks like this may have had some catalysts to continue pushing it up, even though the markets were coming down a little bit. Or actually, it correlates with the SPY. So as the SPY goes up, this will go up. It looks like we have some resistance though around the 245, so watch out for that, which is also a 384.53 level of resistance for the SPY. My current level of support that I'm looking for the SPY is right around here. So hopefully this can follow suit. But wait, I'm sorry guys, I'm completely doing that wrong. I need to put them side by side first. So as the market's pulled down, it went with it, but in the 4 hours that it dropped, it picked back up. So yeah, it still correlates. We need, if the SPY goes back to 390, we're looking at potentially 220 on this. But like I said, 240 is ultimately the level of resistance. It's running parallel with the market. So if we go to retest the highs, Antoine, and the 395s going into next week, which include stimulus, which include watching the treasury yields and inflation, and confirming that the markets are actually reversing from these past 2 week rotations and consolidations, basically corrections. So definitely watch out for that. I think we stopped on, I got a few more in here. GM, long-term stock, it actually jumped up to $53 today. I was happy to see that. I need to, I own a GM, so I'm looking at getting paid from the company I paid for my vehicle to make some profits off of it. So I'm looking at holding this long-term just because of their catalog. I spoke about it before. I think I spoke about it this morning to be exact. One that really disappointed me pulling back was BNGO. It's done so well in the past few weeks before the market correction. It was trading around those 1385 levels when we first started looking at it on our coffee and stock sessions. And ever since then, it's just been brought down. And hate to watch it, but landed strong. I know it dipped below that support level we identified, I think, in one of our, from what it looks like, one of our coffee and stock sessions, right around that 723. Once again, why it's important to do that and to see how it reacts to those levels and make sure that the support is still there at those levels, which it is. So I expect this to continue reversing and moving back to the upside. Looking at the 1 hour, you can see even going into after hours a little bit, that we're slowly making our way back above the EMAs, and once it does, I think it'll take off. So definitely something to watch for going into Monday if the markets are continuing to push higher. Ford, I think we looked at Ford a little bit more and identifying some of the longer term levels that it hasn't reached in some time now, which is around the $17 price range. It hasn't traded around those levels since about 2017, I believe, and it's actually on course to doing that. So EV play, just standard car manufacturer play, if you really want to get into it. One of my favorites, G-Tech, even through all this downturn and stuff like that. Also, somebody asked me about Tesla today, and I said that if Tesla didn't find support about the 609, around the 609 I think it was, or 607, that we were heading back to 500. Well, guess where Tesla went today? It went all the way down to 520, so it's $20 off from my target. But the reason I wanted to highlight that is because Tesla is heavy on these EV plays that we've been tracking and looking to make portfolios in. And why I want to point that back out is not to glorify myself by calling that, but to actually focus on how this stock reacted to how Tesla pulled back today. So the fact that it held strong gives me confidence in the trade that even if Tesla pulls back, it's not necessarily going to weigh down on this particular EV play moving forward, which gives me my confidence in the trade. And while I've been promoting it, I think it's a great company. It's going to be a great opportunity to get in a commercial industrial EV play. Stood strong above that 1140 levels. Didn't pull back as much as Tesla did today. Hold on. Then order some, my love. but didn't pull back as strong as Tesla did. So I'm gonna be looking into getting into this come Monday. I don't think they have options on it though, and that's the only thing I don't like, because y'all know I like using options to get free trades, and they don't. So looking at that, let me make sure I'm checking the Facebook chat. Yeah, dropped all the way to 92 cents, Steven. That's concerning. Yeah, I just saw your message in Facebook. I wish you guys were. I know some people are having issues using the YouTube chat, so I'm having to jump between all of them. I guess I could pull it up over here, just so I'm not missing out on anything. I think O'Shea said something to me the other day, and I completely missed it until after the chat. So let me see. Let me pull it up so I can stay up to date with everybody. There it is. All right. Moving forward, though, like I said, G-Tech, I think it's going all the way back to at least, I think my target was $20. Gonna buy into this. I'm gonna see how it reacts to the 1340. If it stays above that, if I support, I'm just letting it ride. I'm probably gonna keep buying dips all the way up. As long as it's above that 1340, I'm gonna buy every dip I get. And you know, out of the profits I'm at least that I make every day off this small account, I'm going to buy at least one share with the profits I make, because that's how confident I am in it. I'm still confident in RMO too. I think they're doing pretty good. They're a pretty good company to go after, being commercial, industrial type manufacturer for lithium batteries for EVs. So we looked at ACIC. Okay. All right, I'm gonna have to start wrapping this up pretty soon. All right, so to finish up what I was saying though, found support off the 1080 and it's still stayed above that intraday. But why am I identifying that? I need to pull back a little bit. I'm still here, loving the DPW play right now. Picked up. We can look at DPW. I don't mind. I like DPW myself. You actually put me on it, so I appreciate it, Steve. For sure. I'm just waiting for some proper entries and reversals and stuff like that. So strong level of support for ACIC. I don't know who brought this into us, but I may have on some scanner alerts and stuff like that. But support level about 1026. Currently trading between the 13 to 34 EMAs on the bottom side. Looks like it's been pulling back even before everything occurred at the beginning of the last week of February. So a little concerning right there in getting into this trade. I'm not sure if I brought this up or if somebody else did. Let me do this too. Let me cut out Tesla. Let me cut that off and pull out these indicators until we need them again. Check some of that momentum. BCTX was something somebody asked about me, and they just did a ticker change. I didn't like the fact that I can't go back and look at their price history. I can go on my TDA or TOS chart to look, but trading below that 325 but making its way back. I'm not sure who has a position in it. Just closed my PRVB trade alert. I think we're at 1380 when I pushed it, and it broke well below that. Of course, everything broke. I'm gonna quit saying that. Everything broke over the past 2 weeks. Okay, it's mainly what we're focusing on is what is rebounding with the market and what is not, and which ones are doing it the most versus the opposite, and the strength signals that this gives us. Yeah, I know. I'm about to have to go here in a second. EBX still trading sideways. SPY still sitting at 383. I think it was 383.68 now, or 383.65. So it came down just a little bit after hours. Somebody asked me about VALE. It bounced this morning. Nice play if you got into it. I don't think I suggested not getting into it. I think I was just worried about this pullback that it had. Like, it was weird. A weird pullback on it. But broke its long-term trend line too. That's what it was. But let's see if we make it back and trade underneath it, is what I said, I believe. Bitcoin still not above that 490, 49,194. My voice is going out. ARCC still doing well. QS EV play, still believe in it. Looking at holding some long-term positions, but it broke below our green zone, which is concerning. So I'm gonna adjust it just a little bit. All right, guys, I'm gonna probably go ahead and hop off of here because I need to go get some food for the weekend. I just wanted to catch up with you guys. Be sure to rewind and go back to the beginning so that you can see how I played my SPY options and all the moments throughout the trade, so you can kind of understand how momentum trading plays a part with your option trading, with your day trading, and it also plays a part in longer term swing trades as well. And that's why you always see me look at the 4 hour first, because I'm looking at the longer term trend. I do expect to get with you guys tomorrow about 10 o'clock for coffee and stock sessions. I'm not sure who's going to be available, but I will be here. Look forward to having some of you guys with us. If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to drop it in the comments or on the chat here. And if it closes the video, you can still add it there, or you can hit me up in the Facebook chat. I think everybody here is in the Facebook chat. If you're not, let me know now. I'll go ahead and send my link like I always do, just to be safe. Feel free to send me a friend request and I'll get you added. If you sent me a friend request and I forgot to add you because it got mixed up with my 39 notifications a day, feel free to let me know, and I'll fix that. But other than that, guys, just want to do a quick recap on some of our coffee and stocks. I was glad to finally see some green in some of our watch lists, and glad to see, mostly green for everybody else. Hopefully everybody at least made some greens by the end of the week. But I'm going to hop off of here. Thank you all for watching, taking the time. Feel free to share the channel, please, as much as you can, wherever you can, to help build it. We just hit 202, so I want to thank most of you that's been here every day faithfully for supporting what we're doing here at Millennial Investments. I know we were supposed to look at DPW, Steven. We'll look at it tomorrow for coffee and stocks if you join us. Or we'll look at it if you don't. But I want to look at it myself because I'm looking at potentially getting into it going into next week. Other than that, have a great Friday night. I know it's been a hard week. Go ease your mind. I'm about to do the same. Oh, yeah. Update. Mobile app was submitted to Google App. I'm waiting for approval now. And it should take about 2 business days. So maybe mid-week. Hopefully before that, it should be ready. So you can access some of our tools and information a little bit quicker, even when I'm not here on YouTube with live chats. I know we talk on Facebook, but some of my information is a little more exclusive to the platform. So be on the lookout for it. I'll let you guys know. Other than that, like I said, see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.